All right, in this chapter, we'll be learning about government budget. Okay, I'm going to put the points in my own words. Okay, you as commerce students should really clearly have an idea about budget. Okay, budget is not prepared only by the government. Budget is prepared by the organizations as well. Okay, we at Metas also we prepare budget. Every organization has to prepare its budget, and I'm not really sure as to how many of you are precisely clear with the term budget. Okay, before I really connect you to the meaning of the word budget, okay, all of you, you all should understand something very, very important. Okay, just 1 second. I think some of them got disconnected. Just a moment. Divyanshi, are you in? You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, before I really explain to you, what budget is, I'll just give you a very basic introduction, which actually connects you to the meaning of budget. Okay, so I want a participative class, dear students. If you want this to get registered into your heads, okay, as we proceed further, you will have some conceptual topics, but I assure you, if you're concentrating and listening carefully, this chapter is going to be very easy for you to understand. Okay, so I will start. Okay, all of you, first of all, okay. You all know the lady that you see on the screen is our finance minister. Do you all know that? Do you all know that? Manvi? Her name is Nirmala Sitharaman. Okay, she's the finance minister of our country. Okay. Very recently she presented the budget. Okay, you all know in India we normally present the budget on the last working day of February. But the current NDA government has modified it. Now they are presenting it on the 1st of February. Okay, it's not the last working day. Now the current government is basically presenting it on the 1st of February, right? Just a moment. I'm in my office. No problem. We can come by 8, man. No issue. 7:50. Just 1 second. Around 7:50, you can come, and not an issue. Okay. Yeah, no issue. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Proceeding further, this is just an information for you. But first of all, we need to understand what budget is actually. We need to understand some terms used. Okay, so the current finance minister, it was February 1, was Tuesday, and she presented the budget, her fourth budget. This was her fourth budget that she presented. Okay, first of all, before I really go into the topic, before I explain to you what budget basically implies, just a moment, my mouse is stuck. Just a moment. All right, okay, let's go to the depth. Okay, so she presented the budget on February 1, which was Tuesday, 2022. Okay, now what is this budget all about? Why should the government prepare a budget, or why must organizations prepare a budget? Okay, all of you should understand the important meaning of, okay, you all know, okay, you all should know this fact. The government of a country performs wide variety of functions. Do you all agree to that?
Yes, sir.
Now, okay, now if you ask me a question, what the government does, is the government maintaining law and order in the country? Yes or no?
Yes.
Is the government constructing roadways? Right? Government is developing infrastructure, electricity, roadways, transportation, communication, right? While we have private players also in the market. But I want you to know, government, spends a lot of money to take care of your needs. Government spends a lot of money to develop the country. Government spends a lot of money to satisfy the needs of the people of the country. If government spends, I use the word government spends, government has to spend money if this has to happen. But for government to spend money, government has to raise money, my dear students. Suppose if Divyanshi thinks that, she is going to spend, let's say, 20 lakhs in the next year, right? She should raise 20 lakhs to spend 20 lakhs, right? She cannot just 20, she should raise 80 lakhs. She should, if she wants to spend 80 lakhs, she should raise 80 lakhs to spend 80 lakhs. If the government wants to spend 100 crores, the government in the next academic, so in the next fiscal year, the next fiscal year, I'll tell you what is the financial year. So if government wants to spend money in the next fiscal year, government has to make a plan to raise money in the next fiscal year. Without raising money, how can government plan for spending? So government has to raise to spend. I repeat and re-emphasize on this. Government performs a wide variety of functions in the country, and most of it is performed to satisfy the collective wants of the public. Infrastructural development, maintenance of law and order, developing government hospitals, government schools, there are a lot of things the government does to satisfy the wants of the public, but to do all that, government has to spend. But if government has to spend, government has to raise. So you know what the government does? Okay, tell me what is tell me, you all know, you are studying in accounts about fiscal year, right? Or financial year. Tell me what is the financial year starts from, a calendar year basically starts from January and ends with December, right? Yes or no, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Right. When we talk about a school academic year, we have an academic session starting from April, ending with May. Like that, I want all of you know, in financial terms, you call it as fiscal year. Okay, a fiscal year is a year starting with April, 1. April 1 it starts and it ends. Accounting closures happen on March 31st every year. So when we talk about a financial year, or when we talk about a fiscal year, we use the term, for example, 20, let's say 20. Now on February 1, okay, all of you understand, on February 1, I just showed you the slide, our finance minister presented the budget for the next fiscal year, that is the year 2022-23. What is 22-23? Starting from April 22, we are in 22, yes or no, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Right. And the year is going to close on March 31, 2023. That is the financial year. So the budget that was presented is not for the current year, my dear students. Budget is a plan that you are making for the next fiscal year, for the future. You are planning now what you are going to do the next fiscal year. You are planning now that next year you are going to spend this much on all good things. But to spend that much, government has to raise that much. And if you don't plan, you cannot, for example, government had to vaccinate all the Indians, it's an expenditure. If government has to vaccinate all the Indians, government has to find out sources to raise the money to vaccinate the Indians. And it's not just making a plan. It's very easy to put a plan on paper, but to execute the plan is something very difficult. So government has to plan, right? Plan how to raise money. And for that exclusive reason, my dear students, the government prepares budget. I want all of you to understand very important terms as far as budget is concerned. Okay, all of you, please listen to me precisely, everyone. Okay, when the government prepares, tell me on Feb 1, 2022. Okay, all of you, please watch. On Feb 1, 2022, did our finance minister present the budget? Can I have answer, please? Did the finance minister present the budget?
Yes, sir.
For which? Okay, for which year?
2022-2023.
Very good. For the fiscal year 2022.
2023.
Very good. Did our current fiscal year get over? Not yet, right? It's ending on March 31. When do they close the accounts? On March
31st.
Now, this is called as the next year. So when we make a budget, when the government makes a budget, government makes a plan for the next year, future, the next fiscal. So when the government makes a plan for 2020, 21, 22, 23, the government revises its estimates for the current year. For example, the current year is what? Can you tell me what is the current fiscal year, current year, financial year?
2021 to 22.
21, 22. In the last year, they would have made the budget for 21, 22, yes or no?
Yes.
right? So in that budget, some would have happened, some would have not have happened. So they make the revised estimates. When they prepare the budget for 22-23, they make the revised estimates for the current year as well. This is current year, this is 21-22. They also show the financial accounts of the previous year, that is 2021 as well. So they do three things, my dear students. When the budget is prepared for the fiscal year 22-23, they show the revised estimates for the current year, which is 21-22. They also prepare the financial account, the accounting statements for the year 2020-21 as well. So three things are basically done when the budget is prepared in one particular year. How many of you got the term next fiscal, current, and previous year? In this, which is the next fiscal year? Answer, please.
22-23.
Very good. Which is the current year in this?
21-22.
Okay. Which is the previous year in this?
20-21.
Very good. Are all these fiscal years starting from
Yes.
April 1 ending with March 31?
Yes, sir.
So on Feb 1, 2022, the government prepared the budget for which year?
22-23.
Okay. When they prepare the budget for 22-23, they also make the current estimates for which year?
21-22.
Very good. And they also prepare the financial accounts of which year?
20-21.
Very good. Keep that in mind, all of you. How many of you got this perfectly right? All of you? Divyanshi, I appreciate you for your response. Are you all following me? Did you all understand this perfectly? Guys, are you all following me? Anya, Vishesh, Heer, Nishant, Ani?
Yes.
All of you are getting it perfectly right? All of you?
Yes, sir.
All right, taking you back to the slide. Okay, what is a government budget? Okay, I'm just trying to be precise in my explanation. You don't have to go into the depth of it, but I have explained this. And the government in every country is required to undertake various activities, right? Activities to develop our country, activities to reduce income, activities to create wealth. So to do all this, government has to spend expenditure, government has to spend money, right? So if government has to spend money on maintaining law and order, government has to spend money on defense, government has to spend money on developing the country, government has to spend money. If government has to spend money, my dear students, to spend that money, government has to raise the money to spend. Without raising, how will you spend? And the government raises money by taxes, borrowings, etc. These are ways by which. And I want you to know, when the government is planning to spend for the next fiscal year, government has to plan as to how they will raise money in the next fiscal year. And for that, they have to make a financial plan, my dear students. And that financial plan, the government makes for the next fiscal, for the session, or for the fiscal session, starting with April 1, 2022 and ending with March 31-23, the government has to make a plan to undertake the activities in the coming year. And that financial plan that the government makes to manage the next fiscal year is basically called as budget of the government. You cannot run a country without a plan. To run a country, money is required. And to run a country, government has to spend money. To spend money, government has to plan to raise money. And without a plan, the government cannot run a country for the next year. And for that, my dear students, the government simply makes a financial plan. And that annual financial plan is actually called as budget of the government. At Metas Adventist School, Surat, we make the budget. We also make the budget for the fiscal year 22-23 now. The logic is just the same. When the budget is made for 22-23, the revised estimates for 21-22 is made, and the financial accounts of 2021 also is made. So it's applicable. You know, tomorrow you're all you're all basically business students, economic students, and you should clearly have an idea about what budget is. Okay, you'll be getting involved in these activities in the future, probably your own organizations or you running somebody else's organization. You need to know this exactly, because it's not just the government that prepares, every organization prepares, my dear students. Okay, now I'm going to be a little precise on explaining to you. Okay, now let me take you back to the whiteboard to explain to you how the budget is basically made. Okay, all of you. So when we talk about, I told you it's a financial plan. Yes or no, my dear students? Is it a financial plan? Is it a financial plan? Answer, please. Respond. I need your responses. Is it a financial plan?
Yes, sir.
For which year? The plan is made for which year? For the year? On Feb 22, the government prepared a budget. For which year did the government plan?
22-23.
Very good. The government prepared a plan for which year? 22-23. Very good. 22-23. The government made a plan for the fiscal year 2022-23. You know, what is the government planning? This is next year. We did not still reach April 1, 22. So I want all of you to know, budget has two sides, my dear students. On the left side, you have estimated receipts. You know, it's what you are going to get. Estimated means what receipts you have. You know, what are the ways by which you're going to get money next year? And what are the expenditures that you have for the next year? Next year, I have to spend, 1,000 crores for the country. There's an expenditure. These are all plans made. For this, I have to spend this much, this much, vaccinating people, this much. So government makes a lot of plans. But to spend this much for the benefit of the country, government has to plan how to raise that much. Yes or no? Should the government plan how to raise that much to spend that much? Is everyone?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Now, so government has to plan, and that financial plan is basically called as budget. It's called as annual financial plan because it's made once in a year. Okay. Now I told you when the government prepares the budget for 22-23, they make the revised estimates for the current year. Okay. 21-22, right? What is revised estimates? When the government would have planned, for 100 crores and 100 crore revenue, right? Receipts. But probably in the reality, probably this expenditure would have, ended up with 800 crores and not 1,000 crores, and the government would have raised 900 crores. Okay. So they make the revised estimates. The figures would have changed. It was a plan estimate. But now, as of now, currently, the figures would have actually changed. You have the actuals now. That's why it calls revised estimates. When we talk about revised estimates for the current year, it talks about the current year changes, in comparison with the plans that you have made last year. It was all an estimation. But now, as of now, in Feb, you almost have the revised estimates, exact, figures as of now, what you have incurred in terms of expenditure, in terms of raising revenue. Okay. So I hope all of you have understood what I explained in terms of the general knowledge and the economics knowledge required for this topic, government budget. I hope all of you are clear with what I explained. Are you guys clear with what I explained, my dear students?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I hope all of you look at the example given here to be much precise. For example, as I mentioned earlier, for instance, the budget of 2012-13. Okay. Okay. When I say budget of 2012-13, just like I'm talking about the budget of 2022-23, shows the estimates of 2012-13. It also shows the actual financial for the previous year. You remember 2010-11 and the revised estimates for the current year. Tell me which is the budgeted here in this. Can you please pick up the years? Which is the budgeted here? 2012?
13.
13. Okay, which becomes the current year. If 12-13 is the budget, the next fiscal year, then what is the current year?
11-12.
Very good. 2011-12. Okay, what is the previous year?
10-11.
Very good. So you are finding the same figures here, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Right. So that's what is shown here. Okay, that's the only. I think that's shown. I hope all of you are clear, guys. I hope you're all understanding me perfectly. Okay, shall I proceed further? Okay. Why should the country prepare? Is it an option for the Indian government? India is a democratic country. And I want all of you to know, it's like, government cannot say this year we are not going to make budget. No. It is a constitutional obligation of the government. Government must do it. Every democratic country must prepare the budget. They should have transparency in their functioning. The money that government raises is our money, your money, my money. There should be transparency. So I want all of you to know, preparing a budget is not an option for the Indian government. Okay, India being a democratic country, just like any other democratic countries, it is a responsibility of the government to make the budget. Right. So the annual financial statement is actually called as budget. Okay. It is presented in the Lok Sabha. We have two houses called as Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. You all have learned about that in civics. Okay, and so you all know that, but you're not going to get into the depth of civics. But my point here is it's presented in Lok Sabha as a day where the president of the country may direct. But as I told you earlier, when the previous government was ruling, the day for presenting the budget in India was the last working day, okay, of Feb, last working day of Feb. But as per the revised estimates, as the current government's revised regulations, the budget is presented on the first day of Feb, on the first working day of Feb. And that's how a budget is prepared as per the current government's guidelines, as per the president, okay. I told you this is an indication, as I mentioned, right? By convention, by practice, it is normally presented on the last working day of February. But however, it is advanced. It's preponed to the first of Feb from 2017. They're presenting it from the first of Feb, a month in advance. Okay. So I hope the basic introduction is clear for all of you, and there's no confusion, guys. Are you all following me, everyone? Can I have a response, please, everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anybody having
Yes,
doubts?
sir.
Anya?
No, sir.
All right. Okay, let's go to the next one. Mandi, are you there? Mandi? All right. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay. While there are several types of budget, as per the syllabus requirement, your syllabus requirements, we'll be focusing on precisely on two types of budget. Okay, one is called as union budget, one is called as state budget. Okay, you all know we have a federal system of functioning. Do we have central government? Yes or no? Can I have answer for this? Do we have central government? Come on, respond to my question. Do we have a central government for our country? Yes or no? Am I audible, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have a state government? Gujarat
Yes.
government? Do we have Gujarat government?
Yes.
Yes. Do we have a local government? Surat Municipal Corporation. It's a local government. Do you all know that?
Yes, sir.
Right. You all know the budget prepared. Every government has to prepare budget. The budget prepared by the central government is called as union budget. The budget prepared by the state government is called as state budget. The budget prepared by the Surat Municipal Corporation is called as the local budget. So budget will have to be presented by all the governments, my dear students. I hope the slide is visible for all of you. Is it visible, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let me explain to you in depth about union budget. Okay, let's have a clear-cut idea about what is union budget. Okay. Okay, as I mentioned, you don't have to memorize any of this. Okay, it's just a matter of understanding. So, in the budget in India is divided into different layers. Like you have central government, state government, local government, and every layer of the government will have to prepare and implement their own budget. Okay. Now look at this. I'm right now teaching to you what is union budget. Okay. Union budget is nothing but the budget prepared by the central government of the country, right? The government that we have at Delhi. Okay. Right. I want all of you to understand this. The budget prepared by the central government is termed as union budget. Okay. Union budget is nothing but the budget prepared by the central government of the country. What does it show? It shows estimated receipts and proposed expenditure for the next fiscal by the central government of the country. Till 2016, we have a very different scenario. All of you should understand the practical implementation here. Till 2016, okay, the budget was presented in two parts, my dear students. They used to take 2 days for budget. Okay, I'll show you. Number one, they used to prepare a union budget, and they also used to prepare a railway budget. Indian Railway is one of the largest employers, one of the largest sectors throughout. If you look at Indian Railways as an employer, my dear students, I want all of you to know Indian Railways is one of the largest employer, and it's a big sector. So till 2000, it's a convention. Till 2016, the budget was prepared in two parts. Okay, first part. I'm sorry, just one second. The first part is called as it's actually called as general budget, and the other part is called as railway budget. It's general budget and railway budget. Okay, what is first of all? Let me explain what is this railway budget. Okay, first of all, pick up the word budget from railway. Okay, As I told you, budget is an annual financial statement which has two sides. Okay, on the left side you have estimated receipts. So that means what you are going to get in the next fiscal. What are you planning to get? How are you planning to get? And proposed expenditure. What expenditure you are going to incur in the next fiscal? Okay, that's budget. So meaning of the word budget is it's a financial plan, or it's an annual financial statement which shows estimated receipts, what receipts you're going to get next fiscal year, and what are the expenditures you have proposed for the next fiscal year. But when you add the word railway, there is a budget prepared exclusively for railways. For example, what is the proposed expenditure of Indian Railways? For example, government is going to start 4 new trains, right? Government is going to start bullet trains in India. Like they have expenditures. So how much it's going to cost? It's going to cost 50. I'm just saying simple figures to make it key. Okay, 50 crores. So to raise that 50 crores for the railways, how is the government going to raise the money? Probably they're going to increase the ticket fares or the railway ticket fares. They're going to customers ticket fares. They're probably going to raise the fares of the goods transportation. The freight charges. So how are they going to raise that money to take up those projects? So we had a budget exclusively prepared for railways alone. You call this railway budget. And apart from that, for the entire economy, they make a general budget. So this is exclusively for railways, and for the entire economy, they make a general budget for the whole country, wherein you have estimated receipts of the whole country. It's not railways. Railways separate, okay, and then proposed expenditure. This is for the whole economy. This is exclusively for railways. And the budget that the government prepares for the whole economy is called as general budget. The budget that the government prepares for the railways is called as railway budget. Clear with this, my dear students? Are you all following me? Are you all following me? Can I have your responses, please?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. So assume that the government's general budget has the following receipts. Okay. For example, proposed expenditure is 200 crores and estimated proposed expenditure is 200 crores and estimated receipts is, let's say, 250 crores, for example. Okay. 250 crores. I'm just trying to simply. So when the government finally prepares the union budget, government adds the total of railway also. That's how they used to do it before. I'm talking about how India was doing before. For example, the estimated the proposed expenditure for railways was 50 crores, and the estimated receipts for the railways was 55 crores, right? So before making the final grand total of the union budget, the government even adds the railway budget total, no exclusive total here. So 50 as the receipts, and then 55 as the receipt and 50 as the proposed expenditure. And when the government totals it up, the grand total becomes like this. So this becomes the total proposed expenditure becomes 250 crores, and the estimated receipts becomes 305 crores. So this is grand total. So in other words, general budget grand total and the railway budget grand total is added together towards the end to make the grand total of the union budget. I hope I did not confuse you with my statement. Did you all understand what I explained, my dear students? Did you all get it right? Are you all there? Please, if you can respond.
Yes, sir.
Anybody having doubts in what I have explained?
No.
All right. All of you are clear, Anya? Manvi?
Yes, sir.
All right, taking you back to the slide to explain to you the next part of it. So in other words, I told you, mentioned how it is done in India, basically. Okay, till 2016, the budget was prepared in 2 parts, mainly railway budget and general budget. The railway budget showed the details of estimated receipts and proposed expenditure of the railway ministry with regard to only Indian railways. Okay, that's about what I explained already. I'm just trying to connect you to the words that I mentioned in the book, right? Okay, with what I have explained. Okay, the general budget shows a financial plan for the entire economy, describing the receipts and proposed expenditure for the economy as a whole, excluding railways. Okay. Now, the total receipts and expenditure of railways were incorporated in the budget statement of India. I told you in the total grand total, they add the totals of railway when they make the final budget, the union budget. But I want all of you to know this was a previous conventional practice. But from 1718 onwards, okay, government is not separately making railway budget and general budget. Government is doing it together, called as general budget only, right? So there's no separate, earlier they 1 day for railway budget, 1 day for general budget. Now government is taking it on a single day by merging both railway as well as general budget. This is the practice that is adopted by the current NDA government from the fiscal year 2017-18. Okay, this is how the budget is being presented as per the current as per the current practice. Okay, it's changed by. So in other words, the current NDA, the previous Congress government had a different practice that they presented budget on the last working day of February, right? And they presented budget in two parts, railway and general. That's the union budget. But the current government, that is the BJP government, has revised preponed the date as to Feb 1 for presentation of budget, and they are not preparing railway and general separately. It's amalgamated together and it's merged together and made as one single budget for the whole economy. And that's how the current government is basically doing. And this has started happening from the fiscal of 17-18. I hope all of you are understanding the term that I'm using. Are you all clear, my dear students?
Yes.
Everyone clear? Anybody having doubts in what I have explained?
No, sir.
Okay, let's go to the next one. As I mentioned earlier, we are going to specifically look at two types of budget. One is union and the other one is state budget. Okay, union budget and state budget. Okay, this is union. So I'm done with union. I hope all of you got it right. Those important terms that I have mentioned, I hope all of you got it right. Now let's understand what is state budget. Right? Or you have Gujarat government, right? Do we have Gujarat government? So we have the Gujarat government functioning from Gandhinagar, right? And that's near Ahmedabad, which is the capital city of Gujarat. Okay. Now, point here is I want all of you to know state government also prepares its budget, dear students. The state government also prepares its budget. The point remains the same. When I talk about budget, the point remains the same. It basically implies this, okay? It's an annual financial plan. And the financial plan has two sides. One is estimated receipts and proposed expenditure for the next fiscal. When this financial plan is made by the state government of the country, state government, that's when I talk about the state governments of the country, or when I talk specifically about the government of Gujarat, right? It becomes a state budget. Every state government in India prepares with their own budget. And the budget prepared by the state government, the annual financial plan prepared by, the logic is same, okay? Fiscal, in the next fiscal, current year, previous year accounts, everything is same. It's a matter of who's preparing it. Union budget, the central government is preparing it. State budget, you have a finance minister for the state of Gujarat. That finance minister for the state of Gujarat will prepare. You have a finance minister for the state of Maharashtra. That's finance minister for the state finance minister will prepare the budget for that particular state, right? So just like that, every state is supposed to prepare the budget, okay? And that's basically called a state budget, and that's basically nothing but. So in other words, every state government will have to prepare Delhi government, budget of the government of Tamil Nadu, budget of the government of Kerala, budget of the state of Gujarat, right? All this is basically called a state budget. The logic, the flow, concept remains the same because I told you already what is budget, okay? Similarly, just like state budget, the local bodies also prepare the budget, my dear student. The Surat Municipal Corporation is one of the richest corporations that we have all over India. No? They say Surat SMC is one of the richest municipal corporations. Even they will have to prepare their own budgets. And you call that basically as local budget. Clear, guys? Are you all following me? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Anybody having doubts still here?
No, sir.
I need other, this is the most important part of budget components. I need all of you to attend this class. Is it okay if I conclude here? Is it okay? We'll wait for others to join because they are missing us something very important. I know it's the duty to join for class, but I had to change the timings for some good reason. I hope it's okay for all of you if I teach this in the next class.
Yes, sir.
Can we meet for an hour on Sunday? Is it possible? morning, in the morning if possible.
Yes, sir.
I'll intimate to you whether it's I'm taking it or not, or it's one evening. Twice I'll take it. I will see. I do not know why children are not attending the class nowadays.